All right, checking in. How are you guys? Thank you for being here. Thanks for watching. This is an episode of my podcast. It's called At the Real Estate Renovator, but it's two streams of businesses that we do, and so I post content on each one. This particular one is about the business side, the government contracting side, the business owning in general. So, thank you for being here. I am Ryan McGough. I do go by the businessman and bodybuilding investor, or the bodybuilding businessman and investor, I guess is a better a better way to introduce it. And please like, subscribe, share. I really truly only do this to give you some valuable content. And I've been thinking about the value aspect of it, because I see some comments that are like, why does anybody with a microphone get to be a whatever you want to call it, live person, live candidate, influencer, all of that. And I get it. Like, I do watch and dive into some pretty high definition and long term in the industry videos, like Ed Milet for coaching, Eric Thomas for coaching. I like some David Goggins. I like some of that tough mentality and strength stuff. And I get it. Like, why would anybody choose to watch something that is not somebody who's totally already made it before, right? Because I've found that when someone has something that's so advanced, it's very hard to relate in and find like where the first step is, right? So it's great to watch that, like someone who's already made it way out in the future stuff. But it's also important, I think, to watch someone who's right there, like going through it, learning about it. Not somebody who doesn't know what they're talking about, right? Like, we are a business. We're companies called InteleCOM, right? The real estate side is called InteleCOM Investments. Like, it's what I created in my mind when I went out and I started my own company 3 years ago. And it's been tough, right? It's been ups and downs. We've gone after things that we thought were the right thing to do, and then found, the passion for it wasn't there, found it maybe isn't the best route to go. And so that, I think, is why watching somebody who's just right on that cusp of maybe just a little bit in advance, a little bit there, is very important. I try to do that too. And so the value that I bring, of course, because for me, anything that you choose and want to do in life, you should always be throwing a ladder back to anybody who's behind you to follow that path and find that for themselves. And so that, truthfully, for me, is really what all this is about. There's a book two that I read when I was early on. It's called "You Can't Teach a Kid to Ride a Bicycle at a Seminar." And the idea of the seminar, right, of the coaching, of the having people in the same room while you're doing what you do, is because it keeps you energized to go do that thing, right? If you're always constantly having a big meeting and you're on sales calls, you're role playing together and selling together, right? That energy is much more amplified when you are, and you're teaching somebody. If you're teaching and the spotlight is on you, you have to be great at that thing, right? So there's always a level of putting that focus on myself and challenging myself to constantly be growing, right? If I didn't do this and nobody knew about the company and that was it, we did telecom, we did, whatever, it fizzled out, it wasn't a big deal. All those little things that I do, giving back, doing a podcast, teaching other people, role playing with other people, getting on sales calls, getting on operation calls with the customers, all of that. Now, we're still small, so I very much handle my own sales calls. I very much handle everything that has to do with the business. We have a senior estimator. We've had more people. We've had our own techs. We've had our own project managers. We've gone that route. We've found that it's for me at least better to stay lean while we kind of go through this early phase of what we're looking to do and accomplish. And as I've been talking about it before, as I grow the team and kind of build this image of what we want to be and where we want to be as a company. I'm keeping it lean, but I'm doing some of these things to give back to other people, to show them where we're at and how they can do it. And it also at the same time helps me continue. And because if I think about giving up or giving in or not doing this, I think about, well, who am I going to affect if I do that, if I don't do this thing? And that's the audience that I help, the people at my company, the family that I have that this is supported from, and all that. And as you kind of grow this thing that is relied on by other things, you have to focus on that, and you can't slack and leave that on the table because there's so many pieces that are relying on it. With that being said, we have very much gone from being a company who was doing subcontracts in the beginning, because it's easy in the beginning to just get on a project if you just call a bunch of people and kind of reach out to those other companies that are in the industry and just see if they could just pass you some work. That wasn't ever where we wanted to be in the end. Wasn't where we wanted to keep and stay and spend most of our time. We do want to be on the front lines. I talk about it a lot. We wanted to create some things. We want to add value to the marketplace. We see a lot of problems that do exist, and so we want to be there to solve those problems. I think that's very much our why. Bridging the technological gap of everyone's connectivity across the world, right? To be on the forefront of what kind of mesh networks and communication networks are out there. So we very much now are going after a lot of our own bids, but still the bidding process for prime, contracts, when it comes to the commercial side of things, at least in the low voltage, like most of what you're looking for is going after contracts that are coming and solicited, right, by general contractors for a full low voltage package, or electrical contractors for a full low voltage package. And companies that I've been with them before stay pretty much right there in those two areas and just build relationships with GCs, build relationship with ECs, right? Because that's who's sending that work. If you were an electrical company or if you were a general contractor, right, you would be bidding to the, whether it's a business or a commercial entity, a building entity, right, a real estate development entity, you would be going after them and looking for that. Now, mostly all these things are solicited in a very wide pool. They're solicited to the general contractors, a bunch bid, right, and one is chosen. Then all of them, whether or not they've won it, are soliciting to electrical contractors, and all the electrical contractors are bidding to all these GCs, and nobody's even really won it yet. And then it does get won, and most of the time they're going to go right to the ones that they know and the ones that they've had relationships with in the past. So it's a very watered down pool to be able to operate in, especially for a new company. But just bidding and being in that industry and talking to people, and this is what we do, this is how we're successful, those are good ways to kind of get your foot in the door. Also sometimes building relationships with them can also get subcontracts that come to you as well, that are kind of won, and hey, we got somebody fall off, or they didn't do this, can you do that? And you at least build that. But where we really want to succeed and operate is in the SAM.gov space. We want to operate on government projects that have a little more bureaucracy, but also creativity in what you're able to build, because you get to really put together a high level technical proposal of what you're going to do. And so if a company is going to be a manager of other companies or other labor resources, right? If you're going to go get a contract where they need engineers or to build IT infrastructure, you need to get a partnership of a bunch of people together. One that does the infrastructure, one that does the material distribution, one that handles the engineering portion and the maintenance portion. So to be able to do that, we went to SAM.gov, got our UE, got our cage code. We just got that actually just recently, not too long ago. We've still been bidding too because we were in the process of getting approved. But we've really seen how technical and definite your proposal needs to be. And if you just go and look around, you can see government jobs coming out left and right. Proposal writer, contract awards specialist. Like, it's very much high level, high tech, and we're doing it with just me and my senior estimator running the numbers, getting averages. But some of the things that I think can really put us above and beyond are, one, our ability to build teams and build networks. So I know a guy who started a company recently, and he's more on the engineering side. So I've talked to him about, how can we team up? What if we're in on the infrastructure side, you're in on the engineering side, and you put the pieces there for that side, and we kind of team up. And then I know some other people who are really high level in the government industry, one of which said he had like 70 people working or something like that. Now 70 contracts fulfilled with 70 people on those contracts at this moment in time doing the work. So for him, it's beneficial to get the contract and prime on it, and then give that down to me and the other guy that started his company new, because there's not, what it has to be about what value we can bring to other people. So very much at this point in my career, in this phase of what we're doing, we've done projects, been on some high level ones. We've kind of got that experience in that. And now it's very much about, like, how can we grow a team, build a team to be able to do bigger things together, right? If we give away some equity in those things, we don't have to do it all ourselves. Then it allows us, of a lean team of a few, manager, acquisitions and estimator, right, together, that lean team of a few people, able to really put our resources to work on something that's, a high level project with a long time contract, right? So that's one thing too, is that, where did all this come about? What is all that about? What's the idea? What's the point? And a lot of it is just mitigating risk, managing risk. You find that a company that only does long-term contracts, get a contract, it's going to be very hard to fulfill that pipeline of long-term things and residual income. If you get a 5-year contract that is install, maintain, commission, program, and then keep this up for 5 to 10 years, and you get a payment of each year, you have to have a team that can kind of do all of those pieces. So it's all very much now at this phase about, how can we get, even if it means taking a little bit of a break from business coming in, which, trust me, is super lean. It's super hard to do. It's not good to have things not coming in when you're relying on contracts. But if it means to be able to handle a longer term contract that has a guaranteed, monthly, quarterly, yearly payment, subscription, or even just a contract in general, it's going to keep your business a lot healthier. So there's plenty of books out there that talk about, I love having stickers, I love residual income, or taking a moment to even step back and see, how can we implement some residual income streams into what we're already doing. And the answer might not be that far from what you think. Like, you might already be doing those tasks, and they're just going towards a long-term contract, but you can use those same marketing resources, marketing dollars, or personnel, and just kind of shift a little bit of what you're doing, and then you can go after that thing that might have a longer-term, contract in the end. So at this point, it's very much about mitigating risk, minimizing risk, finding those longer term things, and going after more government related things, more things that can really showcase what we like to do, what makes us smarter, what makes us better than a lot of the companies out there, right? So if other companies are just going to manage the low voltage aspect of things, or just manage the infrastructure, hardware, cable, structure, cabling, racket stack, hardware aspect of things, and not like the engineering, the software development, those kind of things, then it would, for us at least, be best to partner with somebody who does that other side. So now together we can do that full scope project, or just, well, if we're just managing, those aspects, the hardware side of things, then can we create some apps or some systems, or find a system that's already there that maybe is like this management software that really makes it great for the user, to see and experience their installation and their entire overview of their network, right? With visualization, or with showing them the process and all that. So it's, how can we use some things, tools, systems, to kind of break through that single contract to get something that's longer term. And those answers might be right there, it just kind of outside of what you're already doing, and bring that home by just adding some different products or some different things that are very similar to the ones that we already do. So that's today's episode, short and sweet, just about mitigating risk, and thinking very intricately and definitely on who do we want to be, where do we want to be, are we following that path, or do we need to shift a little bit to get on the right path? Because if we're so reliant on long-term projects and one doesn't hit, or we get to the end and then something wasn't right, it didn't fulfill, which has happened to us just recently. We had this project that we were waiting on, and we set up our whole calendar and all that, and did a bunch of work up front and got some permits and all that, and then the project didn't end up happening, and we were awarded it, and it really crushed my understanding and my hopes of having that pipeline full, and that income coming in. So it just really, I can either be upset, and feel sorry for myself, or I can say, well, what is it telling me? What am I learning from this experience? What am I learning from this thing? And there was definitely a lot to learn once I get past the point of feeling sorry for myself of what happened, that then there is some things to uncover there, and it's telling us that there may be some other things that we should and could be doing. And once we have a long-term project and have a couple other ones, now we're set for a few years, right? We have this guaranteed income. Now go after a few, quick projects that are one and done, and just have a beginning and end to them. So that's my episode today. Just a little bit of risk mitigation, and diversification at the same time, and also using some of the resources that we already have to just shift a little bit and follow some things that are going to guarantee some income and guarantee some work over the course of the next few years. And if it has to do with partnering, finding people who are already doing it in the industry and asking how we can add value to them at the same time, now it's going to be easier for them to support us and help us kind of get that past performance, to be able to go after some of these things. So it may mean teaming up, it may mean shifting what you do in terms of a product, and it may mean also just creating a new product that allows you to keep, once you do a project, to keep the relationship with a monitoring contract or a maintenance contract, but adding a product that's really going to wow them and let them want to use you because of this product that you have that's not like anything out there. And that is the few things that we're really focusing on, and that's the way we're going after them right now. So I hope you got something out of it. Get those cage codes, get those UEs, unique identifiers, and go search some things that might fit for you, and go dive in, learn how to do it, find some partners or some teams that might be able to help you get there and provide something back to them. And I hope to see you guys on some big high-level government projects in the future. And I hope that you guys implement some residual income streams into your business that will make you that much more valuable and really mitigate that risk of not having anything coming in on certain times too. So, all right, y'all. Thank you very much. This has been InteleCOM and at the Real Estate Renovator with another episode of InteleCOM's Business and Government Contracting podcast. Thank you very much and have a great day.